What's up, everyone? We're back again with another episode. This is episode 262.
Oh, life update nobody asked for. Which one of you bitches were gonna tell me that an MRI machine was traumatizing? I had an MRI this morning, and I don't know what I was expecting. Actually, what I was expecting was similar to a CAT scan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little 15-minute process. You're in, you're out. They tell you everything's fine. No. It is like the CAT scan machine, but way more enclosed.
Yeah,
okay?
in the tube.
It's like right there. And it's so fucking loud. So loud. And I was in there for 45 minutes. Honestly, I think I was in there an hour. They
That's
told
crazy.
me it was going to be like 45 minutes. Pretty sure I was in there at least an hour. Think of the most obnoxious electronic music that you can think of. Like demonic. And then pretend somebody's blaring an air horn on top of that in your ear. So I wasn't expecting that. I was meditating in there. I was doing my best to
Stay calm.
zone out.
Yeah.
Because I get claustrophobic pretty fast. I get anxiety pretty fast. And whenever I would finally come to a point where it was tolerable, I would just hear a louder noise, and then everything would just all of a sudden get quiet. So I would think that it was over, and it was never over. It was never over every time I thought it was.
Damn. That sounds intense, honestly. I've never been in that. It's like a big tube. I'm sure some of you guys know.
It was very overstimulating for me. First world problems, I know.
Well, it's good that you did it, but all right.
Thanks. Never again, hopefully.
We're going to do a video today called How America Could Fall Like Rome. This is something I've been watching a bit, and I know people have been saying this for a little while, like how America could fall like Rome and stuff like that, and like Rome didn't fall in a day and stuff like that. So
Rome wasn't built in a day.
It's also Rome didn't fall in a day. The collapse.
No one says that.
Yeah, they do.
No one says that.
Yes, they do. Shut the fuck up. All right. Anyway, what were you saying?
Like I was saying, thanks if you're protesting. Don't feel inclined. You know, I get it. I feel borderline like guilt inside knowing that people give a fuck that much, but I also know that it is because it's a trickle down effect, how it helps. I mean, how it affects the rest of the world, the stupid shit our government does here. It
feels like there's a far right movement. When I say far right, I don't know. I know people hate to hear it, but I do feel like it's rooted in like a white power movement that's going globally right now.
Yeah.
That is kind of against minorities. And the thing is that I also like, to an extent, I do get when people, if the immigration problems all over the world are as bad as everyone says they are, then I understand why some people can get frustrated with it.
Right, but you should be mad at your government.
Yeah, not the immigrants.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hard part. That's why I think that is why people are going towards a far right thing though all over the world.
I mean, I feel like that is human nature to a degree. You just need something to blame, and your government would rather make you believe that it's other people's issue when it's really their issue
or fault. Yeah.
And there are just humane ways to deal with things, and clearly we have not discovered that yet as a human species, because what the fuck is happening? I feel like we're living in a Black Mirror episode.
All right, so let's see what they say. I think this is by Vice. I'll put the original in the description.
I do think that there is a lot breaking down. I absolutely do not think January 6th is the high water mark. Of course not. Do I think something like this will happen again at some point in the next 10 years? Yeah, absolutely I do. If a political system does not come down hard on this kind of anti-constitutional, anti-democratic attempt to overturn the results of an election, what do you do with that? If you can get away with it, you're just going to keep doing it. When people
that feels like so long ago, and the thing is, like,
for me, it feels like it was like 2 years ago.
I guess, yeah. It was
If that.
5 years ago. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. That is crazy.
To me, this is like, some people look at it like patriots doing that, but I don't feel that way because
it's opposite.
it's like a cult gathering, aggressive cult gathering. Because if it was a good thing, I feel like it would be both sides coming together saying they want change for a system against the government. That would be more of a thing where I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. This is just seems
Barbaric.
Yeah. And I really do, like, I know people hate hearing that things are rooted in race, but a lot of this things are.
It is.
And it's just a reality of it. I mean, I don't know. Segregation wasn't that long ago in this country. Yeah.
People say this is the end of the Roman Empire. That's when I say, I don't think that that's true. This is not a situation where we are entering total state collapse and there's going to be like a kingdom of California. I think that would be overblown. The United States as an entity will
Please,
yeah,
I beg.
but
I saw they're putting it on a ballot for 2028 for if we can vote to become our own country.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Close the borders right now.
when you're talking
No,
about,
I just think it's funny because how many people do you think once they see all the bullshit they voted for, and I know it was only half the country, whatever, play out, are gonna be like, maybe we should move to a blue state? Because right now, a few days ago, they introduced a new bill to the House, basically trying to ban abortion federally, which is
I knew they were going to do that.
diabolical.
I knew they were going to do that. They were just saying, oh, like using it in to just do the state thing so that way they could have like some talking points to be like, it's just
They're
going to be
trying
like
to
up to the
prime
state.
people to get used to this,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
it doesn't. So nothing seems out of reach anymore. Nothing feels far fetched anymore. Yeah. So, and that would, I don't know. I mean, with the amount of like miscarriages alone that happen with women, it's just a recipe for disaster.
It really is.
And just proves that this country fucking hates women at the root, like the core.
Yeah.
its
The
political
government.
system. What does American democracy look like? What does representative government look like? Participatory government look like?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Which the Romans had. For 500 years, the Romans had like a fairly participatory system because those guys did still have to troll for votes. They still needed to win elections in order to get ahead. So I think that there are things that we can talk about in terms of the political system transitioning from representative democracy to an autocratic regime. The United States of America, which is of course modeled on the Roman Republican system, has institutions just like Rome did with the consulship and with the tribunate, where if you just start vesting power and authority in one part of that system, you can keep the window dressing of a House of Representatives and a Senate and a Supreme Court. But we see this in, sort of constitutional dictatorships with the window dressing of democracy, but actually it's just an autocracy. The American political system is well primed to move towards a presidential autocracy, right? The office of the presidency and the executive branch, the institutional framework is there for that office and the White House to become something like a truly imperial presidency, not just as a metaphor, but truly an imperial presidency that will come when these ambitious people and these ambitious politicians really just throw elections out the window and it all just becomes a power grab free for all, where power is all that matters and nothing else does. And you take that mentality.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Right. I don't
We
think
are already
we're-
pretty much an autocracy.
Don't we have a right to overthrow our government? Like, why
I
aren't we
believe it's in the
exercising
Constitution, yeah.
the
But you'd have to
Constitution that
get...
they've tried to erase off of the government website.
what he's explaining
you
is pretty
can't.
much happening right now.
It totally is.
This was 3 years ago, this video. So yeah, it's crazy hearing it, but yeah.
Which I do see floating around out there. The only thing that matters is power and winning. And an institution like the presidency that is well primed to become an autocratic entity.
Right.
Yeah.
You put those two things together and you've got an American dictatorship. The Roman Republic, what happened there was it got down to a point where ambitious men who wanted power stopped caring about the various rules, norms, laws that govern their behavior What happens if you lose an election? What happens if you don't get command of a legion? What happens if your rival is going to put forward a popular bill and give them more votes and more clients than you're going to have, make them more popular than you? How do you respond to that? And for 500 years, they mostly just kind of did it in a round robin rotational system where everybody was kind of happy. And then round about the 50 or 60 years before Caesar, right? All of that started breaking down and they started escalating with each other. Rome held elections every single year. There is an election. It's going to go against some candidate. That candidate has on retainer sort of armed gangs. And they said, I'm probably going to lose this vote. So on the day of the election, I need you to come in with your gang and rough people up and beat them up. They had voting urns, right? Like literal physical voting urns that you would vote into.
Damn.
And they would knock them over basically to wreck the election itself. I'm not going to accept that my rival got command of this potentially lucrative campaign in Greece. I want that campaign for myself. So I'm going to send gangs to try to push his supporters out of the assembly so I can win the vote. After the Revolution of 1830, there is a moment when Lafayette has to go out and stop a mob of people who are going to try to swarm into the National Assembly building because they think that the people inside the National Assembly building are writing a new constitution for France that's more conservative than they would have preferred. And so you did actually have like a mob coming in to stop the national legislature from doing what it was doing. Those things I see happening right now in the United States. I think we all saw something like that happen on January the 6th. Because really what January 6th was about was trying to disrupt the legal transfer of
That's so
crazy.
Pardoned.
power from one party to another, from one candidate to another, from one person to another. And they're just trying to get in the middle
That's
of that
crazy.
and use force and intimidation.
All these motherfuckers got pardoned. All of them.
That is wild.
Do you not see what they did to that one cop?
I know.
He's pissed. He looks traumatized.
I mean, I would be pretty annoyed too.
Me too.
Yeah.
He was so fucking upset. These are the people who are like, oh, we need to protect our cops. Oh,
Yeah, that is weird.
what do they say? Fucking blue rights matter.
Blue lives matter.
Blue lives.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. Where's that energy?
Person to another. And they're just trying to get in the middle of that and use force and intimidation to stop
The
that
gall
process,
of these white people.
which is a very different thing from the more famous moments that you see in other revolutions or in other moments of history. But there are many parallels to this. This is unique for this moment in American history. It is not unique at all in terms of world history. When I have looked back at, all through
Jesus
revolutions and
Christ.
all through the history of Rome, the unique factor about Trump is not what he tried to do
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
or that he's a bad ruler. Because when people ask me, is he like Louis XVI or is he like, Tsar Nicholas? The answer is those guys were actually, in my opinion, better rulers and actually better politicians, frankly, than Donald Trump was. And those are historically bad rulers.
He's
You
not
kind of have to look
Yeah,
at
he's not.
what was
Yeah.
going on with some of the teenage emperors in Roman history in terms of just how kind of flippantly nonchalant they were with the power that they had at their disposal. And not like sort of the excessive horrors that we know from like TV, like with Caligula or with Nero.
Shall have a new name. Neropolis, city of Nero.
But just in terms of temperamentally and how they wielded the power that they had at their disposal. So what does the quote unquote American Caesar look like, or the American Sulla, or the American Marius? Like somebody who's going to come along and really push the system over and grab a hold of it. I don't know that we've seen exactly what that playbook looks like, but Donald Trump has shown us plain as day how much people are absolutely going to be willing to go along with that if and when it does come along.
Yeah, and I think that what he's talking about is what we're going into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, dare I say, terrifying to.
It is pretty scary because
not know what the fuck is gonna come.
From what I've read about history too, is like most of these things that happen that are very horrible, or just like like the Holocaust, other things like that. Apparently, there were a lot of people who were just like couldn't get their head around the fact that it was happening. Like they couldn't believe that this was happening. Like Like,
What do you mean, like that? Live
like you
through
know how
it?
people play down like the Nazi salute. They play down things that are happening with
Yeah,
like
yeah.
abortion. They play down things that happen with race and civil rights. And like, oh, like, you know, there's no like that end goal could never happen. Something that terrible could never happen. And then it's too late when it's happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like people throughout history, they don't
People want
realize.
to believe that they wouldn't subscribe to that behavior
until it's too late.
They're
Yeah.
literally doing it.
And then at that point, they're forced to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't say you're forced to do. You're not forced to storm the Capitol.
I'm saying you're forced to subscribe. I'm talking about the end point of like where people are forced to subscribe to something or they get killed.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascism.
Yeah.
We're there.
No, we're not. I don't think we're there yet, but
I'm pretty sure
we're definitely
there.
going towards
It
it.
could always get worse. I'm pretty sure we're there.
Yeah.
I just don't think we want to admit it because we technically still have free will. Like, I can technically go drive to another state if I felt like it.
Yeah.
So I think we just have a prettier version of it
Yeah.
right
Possibly.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in weird times right now, and we know we'll keep you guys updated as it continues to go on.
We don't even need to. I'm sure you guys
Yeah, I know,
are just
but
as updated as we are.
I know. But all right. Thank you guys for watching. Leave the comments in the opinions, and make sure to like and subscribe.
Are you laughing?
I said
Brian's
it wrong.
delirious. He hasn't had coffee today.
Leave your opinions in the comments below. Also,
Leave
don't
your
forget
comments and your opinions.
don't forget to subscribe to this channel and our vlog channel. All right.
Go watch our vlog channel. It's not here. It's over there in the description box.
Peace.